Controversial British politician Nigel Farage has claimed Sydney police threatened to shut down his speaking event last night unless he paid thousands of dollars for security. Over 1,000 people turned out to hear the Brexit Party leader at a sold-out event at Pyrmont. A large group of officers patrolled outside and they had been expecting some trouble.
As it was, we didn't get any protests at all. There were no difficulties. But the fundamental point is that for a meeting where Conservative views were expressed, a ransom had to be paid. And I would argue, if I'd been a representative of Black Lives Matter or the climate change movement, that wouldn't have happened.
Farage says he's travelled the world on speaking tours and never had a government organisation threaten to stop him.
Goodness knows who runs the police here, because the officers that turned up were utterly charming, very nice and good at their job. But think about this. I came along to Australia as a visitor. This was a private venue, a ticketed private venue. We had our own security. Had there been a concern about violent protests, we'd have known about it. We'd have known about it because there are always clues online about these things. As it was, basically a ransom was demanded for this event to go ahead. And the New South Wales Police asked for 3,000 Aussie dollars to be paid up. Otherwise, they'd stop the event from taking place. The money was paid yesterday. Even more extraordinarily today, at 2 o'clock, another email came through to say unless the contract was signed by 4 o'clock, they'd stop the event going ahead. Now, you know what? I think free speech should be free. And I think for the police force in New South Wales, look, I'm an outsider, but if this happened in my country, this would be a front page story on every national newspaper. There was nothing seditious or bad or wrong going on in that room tonight, just an exercise of free speech. And I don't think any money should have been paid for it to go ahead. If you don't pay the money, we close the event. And then today, if you don't sign the contract, by 4 o'clock, we'll stop the event from taking place. From what I can see of it, these weren't proper police officers. They were more like bureaucrats working within the police service. I want to re-emphasise the officers that turned up were charming and lovely and doing their job. And of course, in a city like this, there will always be protests and things going on. But, out of taxes people pay to have a police force, to live in a democracy, we do allow people to protest, provided they're not violent. As it was, we didn't get any protests at all. There were no difficulties. But the fundamental point is that for a meeting where Conservative views were expressed, a ransom had to be paid. And I would argue, if I'd been a representative of Black Lives Matter or the climate change movement, that wouldn't have happened. In Melbourne last night, a few people turned up with banners, sort of alternative curriculum vitae for me, but that's fine. Look, I've lived with protests all my life. We didn't get any tonight. Protest is fine. We should allow protest in society, but equally we should allow free speech. And free speech, I re-emphasise, should be free.